Yeah, yeah. Run it back, step aside when she walk through, crown first. Queen of karma, queen of karma. She gon' put that mask off, catch you in the drama. Queen of karma, queen of karma. If you living by the lie, better call your mama. Screenshots saved, receipts in a folder. Smirk on her face, cold case on her shoulder. You flex online, she trace every dollar. Follow that trail till your fake chains holler. She don't just talk, she tracks, that's connect straight facts. Turn your big duff to dust, turn your fake on the scraps from the dark web to the morning post. She flip on the switch, make her ghost go tough. Queen of karma, queen of karma. She gon' put that mask off, catch you in the drama. Queen of karma, queen of karma. If you living by the lie, better call your mama. Queen of karma, queen of karma. She gon' put that mask off, catch you in the drama. Queen of karma, queen of karma. If you living by the lie, better call your mama. She see through schemes like glass in the sun, like you hide in the feed. She drag you to flood like you one sheet pace. You shake, she steady. Every lie typed out, got a tag already. Blue ink notes on the side of a planner. Names, dates, codes, whole map of a scammer. You thought you was slick, now your empire shaking. Royal in the room, every crown here taken. Broken blocker, not you, not them. Every fake halo, turn the dust in her hand when she say truth. Whole room goes silent when she say move. Whole crowd goes wild then. Queen of karma, queen of karma. She gon' put that mask off, catch you in the drama. Queen of karma, queen of karma. If you living by the lie, better call your mama. Queen of karma, queen of karma. She gon' put that mask off, catch you in the drama. Queen of karma, queen of karma. If you living by the lie, better call your mama. Living by the lie, better call your mama.
Karma's a bitch.
Queen of karma.
Hello, everyone, and how are you all doing tonight? I hope that you are all having a wonderful, 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 amazing, amazing evening. I know that I am. Good to see you, Joe. I'm glad that you could make it. Good to see you, CD, who says, I've had lots of dentistry lately, root canal, crown, fillings, etc., with more on the way. And yeah, I've been having a lot of dentist work done, as I've been talking about here and there on my channel. Many people are aware. So tonight we're diving into a topic that's way more common and way more dangerous than most people seem to realize, which is dental scams. Not the funny kind, not the oops, I bought a bad product kind, but the kind that can permanently damage your teeth, your health, and your bank account. And I'm not talking about something abstract or hypothetical. I'm talking about something that I personally just lived through. So before we get into the wild world of TikTok veneer techs, unlicensed braces girls, and the people doing medical procedures out of Airbnbs and back rooms, I want to start with my own experience because that's what opened my eyes to how widespread and predatory this whole industry has become. I wrote an article about it called When Dentistry Becomes Dangerous, The Rise of Dental Scams, where I break down exactly what happened to me, how it spiraled, and why so many people fall into these traps. I'm going to read that first because it sets the foundation for everything we're going to talk about tonight. And once we go through my story, at the end, it moves on to the bigger picture, the veneer techs, the $250 braces, the illegal dental work being advertised on social media, and the real-world consequences that people are dealing with. So I say that we should start at the beginning, like my beginning. Dental insurance sucks, at least here in the US. That's right, we'll get into all that. Hello, Nev, good to see you. Have a great day at work. So without further ado, I would like to get into When Dentistry Becomes Dangerous and my story. I never expected that a simple dental visit would leave me in pain, confusion, and fear, or that I would spend days fighting to be heard, taken seriously, and treated safely. What happened to me wasn't just a bad appointment, it was a breakdown of trust, consent, and professional responsibility. As I began to process my experience, I discovered something chilling. I am not alone. Across Canada and the US, dental fraud, overtreatment, and unethical practices are surging, and patients are speaking out. I need to share my story and give a broader warning that dentistry has a growing accountability problem, and consumers deserve to know the truth. What happened to me in that dental chair? All right. So this happened to me right before Christmas. This is what I was going through when I disappeared and told you all I was going through some dental stuff. I want to be completely transparent about what happened to me because the details matter and because this pattern is exactly how overtreatment harms patients. Here is what I experienced step by step. And here's the thing. I talk all the time on my channel about how you need to educate yourself about scams. You need to stay on top of scams. And about how at the same time, there is no real shield to protect yourself from these things. As we go through my story, you're going to hear times where I pushed back, where I questioned the work being done, and then told myself that I was silly. And I think that that's important to talk about here. Because again, even though I'm out here as Queen of Karma and I'm chasing all these scammers all the time and exposing all the MLM fraud and etc., I could still fall for a scam. And if I'm still vulnerable, well, I think actually we better, let's go full screen with it. So the first filling and a cavity left behind. During the first appointment, the dentist placed a filling on a tooth that had been causing me pain. Afterward, I could still see a visible cavity, a dark, obvious spot that I was told was just a stain, except that stain was exactly where my pain had been coming from. And the funniest thing was, at the end of the appointment, I had said to the dentist, can you just go over the work that we're going to be doing? Because we had done a whole treatment plan the appointment before. And I was like, can we just quickly go over what work needs to be done? I had had a few teeth taken out because I'm getting false teeth. And so, I was already in that process when this all kind of went down. And so I say to her, like, how many more teeth do we have to work on? And she looks me in the eyes and she goes, well, I think if you look at your mouth in the mirror, you'll be able to see them. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, if you look in your mouth in the mirror, you'll be able to see how many cavities you got. And I'm like, oh, okay. Weird response to me asking to go over the treatment plan again, but sure. So color me shocked when I went home, looked in my mouth, and the tooth that I had just gotten done has a visible mark on it. And I'm like, well, that one just got done. So what happened here? So I pushed back and I literally told her this. I even said to her, it's funny because you told me at the last appointment to look in the mirror to see what work needed to be done. So I did, and I noticed this. What's up with that? Why hasn't that been fixed? That was the problem. I said something isn't right about this. I told them that I believed the tooth needed a root canal, and I wasn't listened to. Now, I'm not a dentist. I say all the time, I don't know everything. I'm not a professional in every single thing. All right? I'm a social service worker, very different. I trusted the professional, and figured that they knew something I didn't. I decided they knew best. So when I brought it up to the dentist, I was told she could do a root canal in future on that tooth, but she still denied it was a cavity and actually kind of shamed me, claiming the root canal would be more for aesthetics. She literally said to me, I mean, if you care that other people might be able to see it, but it would only be like so that it would look good. And I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure it's a cavity though. Hey, Violet, good to see you. You know which tooth is hurting. And it's funny because that's the spot that was hurting. So I was like, what cavity did you fill? Because the one that was hurting me is the one that I'm looking at still on my tooth. And she's like, oh no, that's just a stain. Like, I guess we could go back in and do a root canal. But like, it would be for aesthetics, just so that like it would look good. You don't actually need a root canal there. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll revisit that later, you know? Now, as I said, I had already been getting work done. I had other teeth that needed work done. So, as this was going on, another tooth with nerve symptoms in the front broke further. It was a deep break, the kind that exposes or irritates the nerve. I asked if they could fix it instead of giving me a necessary root canal at my next appointment, you know. And instead of explaining the severity or discussing proper treatment, they layered multiple layers of filling material directly over the nerve. Told me it was a deep cavity, but sealed well, and reassured me it should be fine, and then sent me home. Because they were like, well, we might need to do a root canal, but we'll see if we can do just a normal filling. So at this point, I'm like, so now I feel like I've had 2 teeth that probably needed root canals get fillings. But again, I'm trusting the dentist. She claimed it should be fine. And I get sent home with a frozen mouth, right? No warning, no discussion of severe risks, no explanation of what happens when you place filling material over an already inflamed nerve. Just, it should be fine. 3 days of hell. What followed was the worst pain, the absolute worst pain I've ever experienced. When I had my daughter, I had a C-section, and I would rather have done that all over again daily than what I went through the week before Christmas this year. My next appointment was scheduled for Christmas Eve day. Funnily enough, weirdly, right? For over 3 days, I endured nerve pain so severe it sent my body into shock, swelling, pressure, sleeplessness, fear, confusion, and a complete lack of support from the people who caused it. I went to the hospital. I was dismissed, minimized, and treated like an inconvenience. I begged the dentist to see me. They agreed to fit me in, and I went in for an appointment. Okay? So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get fixed. Everything will be fine. This should be great. By the time I returned to the dentist for that emergency appointment, I had been at the hospital the entire night before. I was exhausted, terrified, and in so much pain that my entire body felt like it was shutting down. The hospital had given me opiate medication, so when I walked into the dental office, I was not in a state to advocate for myself clearly. I was trying to survive the pain, and I don't do those anymore. So I was messed up. Okay? I last time I was C-section. During the exam, the dentist performed the tap and cold tests again. So the tap test is when they take one of their tools and they tap it on your tooth to see if you scream in pain. And the cold test, they take freezing cold goo and touch it to your tooth to see if you scream in pain. It's great fun. Great fun. But this time, she tapped the opposite side of the tooth, not the side where the nerve pain had been during the earlier tests. I didn't register this in the moment. I was medicated, overwhelmed, and desperate for someone to help me. Nerve pain is unbearable, especially in your tooth. Because of that, I agreed with her when she said the pain must be coming from the tooth beside it. She said, "Oh, you seem to be in actually more pain with these tests that I just gave you on the tooth beside that one. So I actually think that the filling on that tooth is fine, but you need a root canal on the tooth beside it." Oh, yeah. Like, what am I supposed to say? So what I didn't take into account, and what she didn't seem to consider, was that all nerves in the front teeth are interconnected. And this had been going on for days. This was like day 4 of nerve pain. So my mouth was like completely swollen. The whole like left side of my jaw had swollen up. My chin was actually swollen. Like I was all ballooned up. So all of the nerves were screaming at this point. The entire front of my mouth was swollen and hypersensitive. My chin felt bruised and tender. My front teeth actually have a very rare thing, because I have all of the very rare things that you could ever have, where I actually have 2 nerves in my front teeth instead of only 1 nerve in my front teeth. So it's rare, but the dentist should have known that when she did the filling and filled this deep cavity, you would think. And so I actually had 2 nerves that were going, not just 1. So when a tooth with 2 nerves is inflamed, it can easily make surrounding teeth feel like they're in crisis too. That sensitivity wasn't a sign that the neighboring tooth needed a root canal. It was a sign that the original problem tooth was radiating pain through the entire area, especially since I'm all like swollen and stuff, right? But in the middle of all this, swollen, medicated, and in agony, I trusted the dentist's judgment. After all, she is the dentist. I am just the consumer protection advocate. What do I know about teeth? She assured me that the tooth beside the problem tooth needed a root canal. Then she performed a root canal on that tooth. This happened days into the ordeal, right in the middle of the worst swelling, the worst nerve pain, and the worst confusion. Looking back, it's clear that the wrong tooth was treated, not because I misled anyone, but because I was in no condition to challenge what I was being told, and because the dentist didn't take the time to reassess the situation carefully. So after the root canal was done on the wrong tooth, I expected, like any reasonable patient, that the pain would begin to ease once the freezing wore off. You know, I'm like, I should start feeling better now. Yeah, I've been there, done that, and they didn't believe it wasn't the tooth they claimed it was. Yeah, it sucks. Sucks that you've been there too. It's shocking to me how many people have gone through this. Like this very similar stuff. So I'm like, when the freezing wears off, I should finally be fine, you know? Even with complications, most people feel some improvement within 24 hours. But when the numbness faded, the reality hit me like a freight train. I was still in severe, unrelenting pain. The kind that makes your whole body shake, the kind that steals your sleep, the kind that tells you something is deeply, dangerously wrong. And this was more than a day after the procedure. That was the moment I knew the real problem tooth had never been treated. But it has to be that one, you know? I had a follow-up appointment scheduled for Christmas Eve, but that was still over 3 days away. And I was in no condition to wait. I went back to the dentist twice, desperate for help, explaining that the pain was unbearable and something was clearly wrong. Both times I was refused. I was told to wait until my appointment. I was told to give it time. I was dismissed again. Meanwhile, the pain was escalating, not improving. It wasn't just like staying the same either. It was progressively getting worse. And like my body was starting to go into shock. I was experiencing like I was like shaking. All of my muscles started to tense. I started to have back spasms. Like weird things started happening to my body that I had never experienced before after a few days of this constant pain, because I'm not usually in pain for that long. And I was like, I don't know what this is. The only thing is this has to be some kind of shock, you know? Joe says, every time I have had a root canal, I had instant relief, right? Sometimes, like with an extraction, it can almost get worse for like 24 hours after. But then usually, like after that, like you feel great. You know, you're like, well, now I feel extra great because the tooth just isn't there anymore and the nerves are gone, you know? So, but like after 24 hours, if you've had your tooth worked on and fixed, you are definitely at that point supposed to be feeling better. And instead, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And as it seems to be getting worse, like my body is also getting worse with whatever was going on, you know? So both times I was refused when I went back to the dentist, desperate for help, explaining that the pain was unbearable and something was clearly wrong. I was told to wait until my appointment and give it time. Dismissed again, and the pain was escalating. With nowhere else to turn, I ended back at the hospital. Twice! I was exhausted, terrified, and still dealing with the aftermath of nerve pain that had already pushed my body into shock earlier in the week. I kept explaining at the hospital that something was wrong with my tooth, that the pain wasn't normal, and that I couldn't wait days for help. But I still couldn't get relief. I still couldn't get answers. I still couldn't get anyone to treat the actual problem. At one point, the doctor in the emergency room asked me, "What do you want us to do for you?" And I thought, if the doctor cannot help my body out of pain and shock, then honestly, nobody can. I am fucked. I'll be in shock forever now at this point. The hospital gave me more opiates and an Ativan, because obviously I was just having an anxiety attack or something. Asked me not to scream out in pain the one time I did, because it would scare the other patients, and treated me like I was a burden. At one point, I told them my body was in shock and I was starting to see double and felt extremely weak, because that did start happening to me before I was at the hospital. And the nurse told me to just follow her to a room, then walk so fast I couldn't keep up. I asked if I could get some help, and they told me to just keep walking. I felt hopeless. I went home from my third hospital visit, wondering if I had 3 more days of this shock and pain. Then I wondered how I would get through it and how long it would take for my body to come back down. Would I be well enough for Christmas? It was Sunday night and I was out of options. The good news was that the next morning I might find a dentist office that would take me. At this point, I've run out of options. It was the holidays. Clinics were closed. My own dentist refused to see me for another couple days, and the ER doctor wanted me to diagnose my own problem and tell them how to treat it, and I was in agony. So I did what no patient should ever have to do. I went from dentist to dentist, begging someone, anyone, to take me. I walked up and down one of the main roads from clinic to clinic, asking every receptionist the same desperate question: can you take an emergency right now? In a snowstorm. It was great fun. Sounds like a dental abscess, very dangerous if it goes into sepsis. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. So the ER doctor wanted me to diagnose myself, and I'm in pain, and I'm like, I don't know why the emergency cannot help me. Heaven forbid someone show up at the Ottawa General Hospital with a car accident, having been in a car accident unconscious with their body in shock or something, because the ER doctors are not even going to know what to do. Like, they'll be like, well, he's not awake to tell us how to treat him, so I guess he's just going to die here. Like, awful. And I literally walked up and down the street. Most of the clinics were closed. Some weren't accepting emergencies. Some simply couldn't fit me in. And then there was the insurance barrier, something I never expected to face in the middle of a medical crisis. So, that sucks. The funniest thing is that I got this insurance to help me, as most people do, in an emergency situation, especially, right? What is insurance? And I'm thinking, Lord, what else do I have to deal with? So several offices told me that they couldn't take a new x-ray. So I would go in there and they'd be like, oh yeah, maybe we could take you. Hold on. Oh, you're on that insurance? Then no. Because they couldn't take a new x-ray because there was a chance the Canadian Dental Care Plan wouldn't cover it. Without that x-ray, they couldn't legally or ethically treat me. And the only way around it was to have my existing x-rays faxed over from the very dentist who had put me in this situation in the first place. I was trapped in a bureaucratic loop while my face throbbed, my nerves screamed, and the clock ticked toward Christmas. Finally, I found a dentist who agreed to see me. She offered to fit me in upon closing. Something that honestly I feel like the other dentist should have done, but maybe that's just me. The receptionist even offered to tell my last clinic to fax over my x-rays. It was a Christmas miracle. Woohoo! I returned later in the day. Within minutes of examining me, they saw the issue immediately. They identified the real problem tooth. They recognized the unusual nerve anatomy, the two-nerve structure in my front tooth that the previous dentist had missed entirely. They understood why the pain had been radiating through my entire face, and they treated the correct tooth. Extracted it immediately because I had an abscess. It was an infection. I was already on antibiotics, but when you put filling on a nerve that's infected and the person has an abscess, it's just obviously it's going to make everything 10 times worse. So that's what my issue was. And she was like, we have to just take out the tooth. And then I was still on antibiotics. I'd actually only gotten the antibiotics the second visit to the hospital. So I was still on the antibiotics, and she was like, yeah, no, keep taking the antibiotics, and then we're going to have to take this out, and then hopefully, it might take you a few days, but you'll hopefully be okay for Christmas. The relief was immediate and profound, not because the pain vanished instantly, but because someone finally listened, understood, and acted. This should never have happened. No patient should have to endure days of untreated nerve pain, be dismissed by their own dentist, be refused emergency care at the hospital, go to the hospital multiple times, wander from clinic to clinic during the holidays, beg for someone to take their pain seriously, receive a root canal on the wrong tooth, and rely on another dentist to fix what their own clinic ignored. But that is exactly what overtreatment and mismanagement look like in real life. It's not just about money, it's about harm. It's about trauma. It's about patients being left to suffer because the system protects providers, not the people they're supposed to care for. The hidden business model is overtreatment. And overtreatment is one of the most profitable and least regulated forms of dental misconduct. It happens when a dentist performs unnecessary procedures or performs multiple procedures on the same tooth, not because the patient needs them, but because each step generates a new billable code. Here's how the pattern typically unfolds and how it mirrors what happened to me. In legitimate dentistry, a filling is used when the cavity is small, the nerve is healthy, the tooth structure is stable. But when a tooth is already showing signs of nerve involvement, such as deep pain, swelling, temperature sensitivity, or radiographic evidence, dentists are not supposed to try a filling and see. Why? Because they already know the filling will fail. Yet some clinics do it anyway because a filling is billable. It looks like conservative care. It delays the real treatment and it sets up the next, more expensive procedure. This is the first layer of the scam. Step 2, the predictable failure, needing a root canal. Once the filling inevitably fails, because the nerve was compromised the whole time, usually if you're in pain, it's because the nerve is exposed, The dentist then says, looks like the tooth needs a root canal after all. And this creates a second billable event. Now, if they had just done the root canal to begin with, they could only charge your insurance once for one procedure. But since they did the filling and now they're doing a root canal, you get a second billable event. Diagnostic imaging, the root canal itself, the buildup, and the crown, all on the same tooth. In many fraud cases, investigators found that dentists intentionally placed fillings on teeth that clearly needed root canals because it allowed them to bill twice. This is exactly the pattern I experienced twice. Because remember that tooth that had a visible cavity that I got the filling in the very, very first one, that one's still sore. That one's still bothering me. It is going to need a root canal. So, shit, right? Fuck me. Then, step 3. If the root canal fails, they profit again. Root canals can fail for many reasons, but in overtreatment cases, failure is often predictable because the tooth was already too compromised. The initial filling delayed proper treatment. The infection worsened during the delay, and the tooth structure was weakened. When the root canal fails, the next step is extraction, implant, bridge, or denture work. Each one is another billable procedure. This means that one single tooth in your mouth can generate a filling, a root canal, a crown, an extraction, and possibly implant work. 5 separate billing opportunities, all from one tooth that should have been treated correctly the first time. Probably with a root canal. Right? Overtreatment isn't always dramatic. It often looks like, let's try this first. We'll see how it goes. It might work, but no guarantees. But when a dentist already knows the tooth needs a root canal, offering a filling first is not conservative. It's profitable. Ethical dentists don't gamble with your pain. They don't try procedures they know won't work. They don't set you up for multiple billable failures. In my case, 2 teeth were treated with fillings even though the symptoms pointed to nerve involvement. Both fillings failed. Both teeth escalated to severe pain and swelling. I ended up in the hospital. I was dismissed and minimized when I sought help. This is not normal dentistry. This is not bad luck. This is a pattern, one that matches the overtreatment schemes currently being exposed across Canada and the US. Why patients don't realize it's a scam. Many patients won't even realize they are being scammed in the moment. This is because the process is disguised as trying the least invasive option, which makes me kind of laugh, right? How ironic. All of these are really. Because the next one is that it will save you money. Being cautious, avoiding unnecessary root canals. But in reality, it's the opposite. It costs more, it causes more pain, it delays your proper treatment, it increases the risk of complications. Like now you have more of your tooth worked on and fucked with if you have a filling and a root canal on the same tooth, you know. And it, of course, maximizes the billing. Patients trust their dentists. Scammers exploit that trust. Most people don't walk into a dental office thinking, is this person scamming me? Thinking, are they overtreating me? Or even, are they billing insurance fraudulently? We assume ethics. We assume professionalism. We assume they're following standards of care. But the reality is that some clinics prioritize profit over patients. Some dentists cut corners. Some push unnecessary procedures. Some ignore symptoms to protect themselves. Some dismiss patients to avoid accountability. Trust can become a blind spot, and unethical providers exploit that blind spot ruthlessly. I think we need to talk about how dentistry is a systemic issue. You're probably thinking, how? Don't worry, I'm going to share it all with you. That's so terrible. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Thank you, CD. I don't trust dentists anymore, right? So, I'm a weird type of person. You know, I'm the type of person where if I go through something and it was negative for me, I don't just leave it at that. Not just like, oh, well, that sucked, and then I move on or whatever. I then have to turn it into something positive. Usually it turns into me speaking out against something. And I wasn't really expecting that to happen here, believe it or not. But then I, of course, went through this experience. And then I was kind of like, I feel like this dentist did this on purpose to these 2 teeth. Like I was having a lot of intuition. And I didn't know about overtreatment at all, really. Always been taught to just trust the dentist, you know, and do whatever they tell you needs to be done, sort of thing. So when I went and looked it up online and realized that there was a name for this and everything, I was like, well, wait, how can this happen? Obviously. And you'll be shocked at how regulated dentistry is. So dentistry is often treated as a medical profession. Now here it's not included in your universal health care. So that's why, you know, they have the Canadian Dental Care Plan and all that. So you can get that. That's kind of in place of it, I guess. But it's not regulated. Dentistry is not regulated like it's a medical profession. Technically, your teeth should be considered a medical profession, you know? Across Canada, the US, and New Zealand, dentistry operates in a fragmented, inconsistent, and often opaque regulatory environment. Patients assume dentists are held to the same standards as physicians. But the reality is far more complicated and far less protected. That's right, with your dentist. There is no universal oversight, no standardized second opinion requirement, no real-time auditing, limited transparency, weak complaint systems, and minimal accountability. Patients assume someone is watching, someone is checking, someone is making sure that dentists follow the rules. But in reality, most oversight is reactive, not proactive. By the time a patient realizes something is wrong, they're already in pain, already traumatized, and already financially exploited. By the time a dentist is caught, the damage is already done. So Canada is a patchwork of provincial regulators. In Canada, dentistry is regulated province by provinces. That's what we call our states. Not nationally. Each province has its own dental regulatory authority. And while they collaborate through the Canadian Dental Regulatory Authorities Federation, there is no unified national oversight system. This means standards vary by province, complaint processes vary, disciplinary transparency varies, enforcement varies, and patients have no national body to escalate concerns to. Even the Canadian Dental Association, CDA, is not a regulator. It is a professional association representing dentists, not patients. The new Canadian Dental Care Plan, CDCP, is a major federal initiative, but it does not regulate dentists. It is an insurance program, not an oversight body. It will pay dentists, but it will not police them. This means dentists will still self-regulate. We see how well that works with MLMs. Provincial colleges will still handle complaints. There is still no national patient protection system. Overtreatment and billing abuse remain completely possible. Quite easy for dentists to do. The CDCP may increase access to care, but it does not fix the underlying regulatory gaps. In fact, some may argue it opens up a new vulnerable population for dentists to scam. The United States, always a market-driven industry. That's right, capitalism, fuck yeah! Sorry, don't come for me. So in the US, dentistry is regulated at the state level, so very similar to Canada. And the American Dental Association, ADA, actively advocates to minimize federal regulation on dental practices. This means no national oversight, no standardized patient protection system, no unified complaint process, no national auditing of dental billing, and no federal requirement for second opinions. The ADA's own advocacy materials emphasize reducing regulatory burden on dentists, not increasing accountability or transparency for patients. So here is the regulatory reform. As you can see, it says learn what the ADA is doing, minimize the regulatory burden on dental practices. So, There it is. In a market-driven system, dentistry often behaves like a private business first and a healthcare service second. This creates fertile ground for overtreatment, unnecessary procedures, insurance fraud, aggressive upselling, corporate dental chains prioritizing profit. Patients assume the system protects them, but the system is designed to protect providers and doesn't want to change anytime soon. As you know, you see by the ADA here. And they're like, no, we like how it is right now. Thank you. So that's probably not going to change. New Zealand, small country, large oversight gaps. New Zealand's dental system is regulated by the Dental Council of New Zealand. But like Canada and the US, it is self-regulating and reactive, not proactive. While New Zealand has stronger public health structures than the US, dentistry still suffers from limited real-time auditing, slow complaint processes, minimal transparency around disciplinary actions, no national second opinion requirements, and no independent patient advocacy body. New Zealand also faces workforce shortages, which has led to discussions about loosening regulations for foreign-trained dentists, raising concerns about patient safety and oversight, mainly because the regulations in other places are not the same. As you can see here, patient safety on the line, the implications of loosened regulations for foreign dentists. So, you know, that's kind of a little bit of an issue, especially since there is this lack of oversight. You know, and here they say that there's a lack of oversight and accountability for foreign trained dentists as well, right? So it's going to get worse. Isn't that wonderful? Unfortunately, right? Unfortunately. So a global pattern, dentistry as a trade, not a medical discipline. Across all three countries, the same systemic issues appear. All the same one. So number one, self-regulation. Dentists regulate themselves through professional colleges or boards. This creates inherent conflicts of interest. Number two, there's no national oversight. Canada and the US rely on provincial state regulators, and New Zealand has a single regulator, but it is still self-governing. Number three, weak complaint systems. Like if you go through something like what I just went through, how do you report it? How do you complain? What if there's like a psycho dentist that decides to start taking a screwdriver and drilling into people's gums or something? Like, do you call the police for that? Like, what's going on, you know? Complaints are slow, opaque, and often resolved internally. So you can only go by reviews, I guess, if there are any. Number four, no real-time auditing. Unlike hospitals or pharmacies, dental clinics are rarely audited unless a complaint is filed. Number five, and again, like good luck filing a complaint. So, number five, no standardized second opinions. Patients are not required or encouraged to seek second opinions before major procedures. In fact, in many cases, patients actually cannot do this. Many insurance companies have financial caps on the amount of treatments or x-rays a patient can be provided. So a second opinion would have to be paid for out of pocket, which most patients cannot afford. Not in this economy. 6, limited transparency. Disciplinary actions are often hidden, sealed, or difficult for the public to access. I don't think that should be the case. 7. Market forces drive treatment. In all 3 countries, dentistry is largely privatized. Profit incentives shape treatment decisions. So dentistry needs oversight now. Right now, in this moment. It is very, very important because there's a lot going on right now that we're about to get into. It's not just about me and overtreatment anymore. We seem to be in a weird era, if you will. The era of the dental scams. We're living through a moment of reckoning in dentistry. And it's being driven not by regulators, not by professional associations, but by patients. Ordinary people harmed by unethical or unqualified providers are turning to social media to expose what regulators have failed to prevent. And the stories coming out are shocking. The fake veneer techs targeting vulnerable patients. That's right. You heard that right. The fake veneer techs targeting vulnerable patients. Across TikTok and Instagram, unlicensed veneer techs are advertising cheap cosmetic dentistry, often at half the price of legitimate clinics. These individuals have no dental training, none, no certification, and then no oversight. They operate out of strip malls, private homes, and makeshift studios. Dentists and journalists have warned that these procedures can cause irreversible harm, including damaged enamel, infections, and long-term complications. One high-profile case involved a TikTok creator who was arrested after allegedly scamming patients with fake veneers and damaging their teeth and gums. Yes, that is right. The case of Miss Monica Davis. Maybe you guys have heard about this. Maybe you have not. But I am going to let somebody from TikTok named ND Baby explain this to all of us and what went on with that. Take it away, ND!
I thought veneer tech talk couldn't get worse. It does. Fake TikTok dentists leaves patients with sham braces and teeth falling out. Put your seatbelt on because you're in for a ride. A woman who posed as a dentist on TikTok offering veneers and braces have been arrested after patients suffer serious gum and teeth issues resulting from her scam veneer business. Monica Davis ran the Veneer Experts, which she started in July 2023 and is now under investigation by police because Davis is accused of practicing dentistry without a license. She is also accused of providing braces, which Monica Bailey and her 15-year-old daughter said resulted in teeth falling out. Davis promoted her business on TikTok using the slogan, "Changing lives one smile at a time." The Veneer Experts also operated out of a Las Vegas strip mall where she was eventually caught. Court documents show that Davis was released from custody in Nevada on January 31st and 9 days later fitted Bailey with braces. She ain't learned nothing. She also said that Davis cleaned my teeth and started, putting the glue on and putting the brackets on for the braces, and I thought what she was doing was how it's supposed to be done. They tried to schedule a follow-up appointment with Davis but was unable to reach anyone. One of the numbers was disconnected, the other one nobody would answer. Bailey said she couldn't believe it when she saw Davis' mugshot. Tattoo artist Ralph Jones claims that his $2,000 veneers started to decay and fall out, leaving his appearance. They just started decaying and falling out, and over the course of the years, it just started making my appearance look pretty bad. I woke up to a chipped tooth. Man. CBS 2 discovered that Davis' name does not appear on the registration site for state dentists, despite Illinois requiring all dentists to have a license. I did some more snooping about Monica Davis, and look. Authorities learned of Davis' business after clients filed a complaint. She allegedly told state investigators that she scheduled an appointment with the business after seeing the advertisement on Facebook. When the client arrived for her appointment at the location provided to her via text message, she learned that the veneer business was operating in a room at a beauty salon. The client reportedly identified Davis as the person who shaved down her teeth and applied a composite. During the procedure, the woman purportedly did not see a dental tray or any device used to sanitize dental equipment. She left the procedure with the larger tooth as well as several teeth that appeared fused together. When the patient asked about flossing her fused teeth, she alleged that Davis told her they do not fix that, according to the story. Later, the same woman contacted the business again. During the phone call, a woman purportedly told the patient that she owed $50, needed to schedule another appointment, and asked her to bring cash. 2 weeks after her appointment, the patient's veneer broke off. She went to a dentist who informed her that the composite was not dentist grade, according to the story. The veneer experts were forced to vacate their Schaumburg office, with the receptionist revealing they had fielded numerous calls from unhappy customers. She is scheduled for a court appearance in Las Vegas in May. These veneer techs better be careful. They're cracking down on them.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad they're cracking down on them. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. This is happening because there is no meaningful enforcement preventing unlicensed individuals from performing dental procedures, and because desperate patients are being priced out of legitimate care. You know, not in this economy. Can't pay $3,000 for some dental work. Cheap braces from TikTok, anyone? You guys want some braces for $150? You know? Why not? Another viral case involved a woman on TikTok offering braces for just $150, a fraction of what legitimate orthodontic treatment costs. That's the other thing for things like braces and that, like, it's not even the dentist doesn't do that. You go to an orthodontist, which is kind of like the doctor of dentistry. I don't know. The highest you can be, I guess, in that industry. It's a completely different thing, though. But she wasn't a licensed orthodontist. She wasn't even a licensed dental professional. In fact, she also sold wigs and could do your eyelash extensions. That's right. And her name on TikTok was at I Do Braces, but it was spelled EYE, the I. She was applying brackets and wires in non-clinical settings, often to teenagers and young adults who believed they were getting a deal. This wasn't orthodontics. It wasn't safe. This was unregulated dental work being performed by someone with no qualifications. Well, maybe she had qualifications to do your lashes. But the news of her services spread like wildfire because people are desperate for affordable dental care. Social media makes scams look polished and legitimate. There is no centralized oversight preventing unlicensed individuals from offering dental procedures. Regulators typically act only after harm occurs. So let's take a look at that amazing case now. I actually found her account. It's still going. This woman is still doing this, okay? This was posted up mid-December 2025. She's still going. Redonkulous, I tell ya. Crazy.
Okay, y'all, so come with me on a busy Friday. So today I had 9 clients for my braces.
9 clients in one day to do braces. 9 clients. 9. How are you doing 9 braces? No orthodontist has ever done that. All right, I'm pretty sure a busy day would be them doing like 4, maybe. If there's anyone out there that works in this profession, in this industry, and you want to weigh in, please do. But I feel like, 4 in a day is pretty normal, most likely, but 9?
And everybody wanted power chains. I do know how to do regulars and I do know how to do power chains. If you ask me which one should you
Sure.
start off with, I will tell you. But if you want to start off with power chains, that's totally your decision. So y'all.
Whoa. What do you mean it's their decision? Now you sound like the ER doctor. What do you want me to do to treat you? Like, no, they shouldn't get to pick what kind of braces because these braces probably do different things to your teeth. And I feel like you, as the dentist, alleged dentist, you're supposed to know what braces they need on their teeth. Also, people that reacted to this, other than myself, because I have seen a few people react to this, the Do We Know Them podcast definitely did a whole section on this scam, this particular girl here. And they pointed out that a lot of the teeth are dirty. As you can see, they're yellowish, you know. A lot of the gums look to be swollen. The braces are crooked in a lot of the videos. This is like her best work that I found here.
Might see some folks on here that y'all feel like should have started off with regulars, but if they tell me they want to start off with power chains, I'm going to do just that. I worked all the way until about 10 o'clock at night.
Like this here. Like this person here has very, very inflamed gums. And then look at where the braces are. It looks like a couple of those braces are actually on her gums. Not even on the teeth. It's just very, it's not good.
My 150 special is ending January 1st, y'all. I accept EBT, cash, Apple Pay, Cash App, all that. Message me if you're interested.
Like, look at this. It's so crazy. $150, full set of braces.
And I also accept walk-ins.
You know? Crazy stuff. The $150 price tag wasn't generosity. It was bait. The reason it worked is because the dental system is failing people so badly that even dangerous alternatives look appealing. Dentist work is very, very expensive. Not everyone has good insurance to get their teeth done. And it is kind of an aesthetic, especially in the time where everyone's on TikTok right now. Everyone's getting judged for their appearance. So there's a lot of people that are going, oh shit, maybe I need to go get my teeth fixed. And I think that's also part of the reason why we're seeing like such a surge in this. We're getting a lot of TikTok dentists. There was, I believe they've had TikTok nurses get fired. And I believe there was also a dentist that ended up getting fired that was doing it on TikTok. And people are like, oh, I want to do that. I want to be a TikTok dentist. But it's like, no, you still got to go to school and then get the education, get the certification. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to be a dentist and then just go out and buy a chair and some supplies and then start putting braces in people's mouths. And the funny thing is, right now, a lot of the way that people are getting these guys, these dentists, these fake dentists in trouble isn't because they're being reported to the board. There almost isn't like a way to stop it from happening, like I said, because there's no oversight and the regulatory agencies can't really do much, especially if you're not licensed. So you're not a part of these colleges. You're not in their dental college. So then it's not like they can take your license away. So what it is people are having to call the police and then charge them with actual like assault. And the issue is that for a lot of areas, this isn't like technically an assault. You know, like if someone gives you braces for $150 in your mouth and it fucks you up, it's not really an assault. It's not like someone coming and punching you in the mouth. So that's also part of the issue here, is that, you know, even in terms of a criminal case against these people, we can't decide if it is actually assault or not, depending on where you live and etc. So if you get fucked over by one of these dentists, there isn't a lot that you can do to get your money back. There isn't like dentists that, it's not like the next dentist will do the work for free for you because you got fucked over at the last one. So you just have to pay out of pocket again. You know what I mean? It's not like if you get scammed and then you can get your money back. Or like if you didn't get a product because you got scammed, then maybe someone that has the product will send it to you for free and like help make it right. Like that kind of thing can't really happen here, and it doesn't. So it's like these dental scams are going on and these people are going to get away with it. And we're all just going to have to deal with getting fucked over by them, I guess. And that's kind of the harsh reality of all of this. More and more people are turning to TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit, though, to expose overtreatment, unnecessary root canals, fraudulent billing, unlicensed cosmetic dentistry, botched veneers, corporate dental chains upselling vulnerable patients, dentists who ignore pain, dismiss symptoms, or refuse follow-up care. Social media has become the only place where patients feel heard. That alone is an indictment of the system. When people have to go viral to get justice, something is deeply wrong with the system. You ask me, something's wrong with all systems, but I try to not be biased. Keep my personal bias out of this. So something is wrong with this system, though. All right? Like, we got to do something because this is not okay, especially as this is growing. And more of these are popping up everywhere. So why am I speaking out, other than the fact that I really like to hear myself talk on live stream to like 3 people a day? I am not accusing anyone of a crime. That's for the regulators and investigators. And don't worry, I am going through the proper channels for my experience. My issue is, as I went to go do that, I realized there wasn't really one there. And it became a lot of, fuck, who do I report this to? Even to try to talk to the hospital, trying to explain to them, like, I was in severe shock with severe nerve pain, and instead you treated me like I just needed to take an Ativan and calm down. Like, that's not okay. What is that? Even that's hard to report, but it's easier to report than the dentists are. There is like almost nowhere that you can really report it to. Especially, like I said, if that dentist doesn't happen to be licensed. Mine was, don't worry, we'll see what happens. I may or may not let you know in future, depending on, what happens with it. But again, a lot of these veneer techs, a lot of these fake braces things, a lot of that, they're just straight up not registered as a dentist. So if you're in a place where they cannot be charged with physical assault on you for fucking up your teeth like that, you can't report them to anywhere for them to then get like a license revoked or get fined. Like, there is nothing, you can't do anything. You're just fucked. That's it. That's all. They get away with it pretty much. So I am naming a pattern that harmed me and is harming others. My experience fits with the exact structure of overtreatment cases currently being prosecuted and reported in the news, if you were not aware. There's this whole thing here, too. There's a whole case here talking about suing dentists for overtreatment and what it is. So, I linked that. Because they're supposed to have a standard of care, the dentists, but when nobody is ensuring that they follow it, what do? If it happened to me, it's happening to others, quietly, invisibly, and without accountability. People deserve to know what overtreatment looks like so they can protect themselves. But this isn't just about my story. It's about a system that allows these stories to happen in the first place. For too long, dentistry has operated in a regulatory vacuum, just like MLMs, a patchwork of provincial, state, and national rules that prioritize providers over patients. Across Canada, the US, and New Zealand, oversight is inconsistent. Complaints are slow. Disciplinary actions are often hidden. And real-time auditing is almost non-existent. So, like, nobody's looking at these dentists billing, like, ever. Why would people get their veneers in a hotel room or lash extensions by untrained people? Some people think that they're getting a deal. You know, they really want the veneers, but they don't have the money for it. They really want braces, but they don't have the money and they don't have the insurance. And then somebody's offering it $150. You know, it's the same with how do people get into pseudoscience practices, thinking essential oil is going to cure cancer, right? Like, it's a very particular group of people that these scams, especially those ones, are preying on, you know? And then I would argue the overtreatment scam might be preying on people with insurance that will just blindly kind of pay out, or on people with money that are just kind of like, yeah, okay, I guess. Here's $500 to fix another tooth, you know, that kind of thing, right? But I agree that, you know, you would think there's people that give fake boob jobs. You know what I mean? Like, the fake dentistry isn't that much different from any of the fake healthcare. And I think actually with dentistry, people don't really consider that healthcare. They're kind of like, oh, well, it's just my teeth. A lot of people don't realize that your teeth actually controls all of you. Like, if you have an abscess, that can fuck up your heart. You know? There was a case of an athlete that allegedly had this crazy tooth problem. Ended up having to quit the sport he was doing. Was having all kinds of pains and stuff. Went in, ended up fixing his tooth, ended up being cured. They thought that he was like getting arthritis or MS or something. Like, they were like, we don't know what's going on with him. He's just like deteriorating. Ended up being a tooth, right? So, like, it's attached to everything. Your entire health depends on your teeth health. But for some reason, I think that we minimalize it in comparison to our other healthcare. And honestly, our countries kind of do too. Because here in Canada, right, they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you healthcare for free, but then dentists, you'll have to pay money for. It's very bizarre, you know? And scam Brazilian butt lifts. That's right. That's right. Oh my. There's a thing now about getting injected color into your irises to change your eye color. Lord. You know? Yeah, bacteria will get stuck in your heart valves, and it's incredibly difficult to get rid of. Exactly. And I think not everyone is aware of this. Like, they have the dentist come into my daughter's school to check the kids' teeth because we have a lot of immigrants in our area, and a lot of them don't go to the dentist that often. So they'll bring dentists into the school just to make sure that kids are getting some dental care. It's actually crazy how many people like don't have a family doctor, don't have a dentist, you know? So you fall for the scams, right? And dentistry is treated like a private business, not a medical discipline. Patients are the ones that then pay the price. So now we're seeing the consequences everywhere with this. Fake veneer clinics run by unlicensed techs, TikTok creators offering $150 braces in living rooms, corporate dental chains upselling vulnerable patients, people being pushed into unnecessary root canals, crowns, and extractions, patients discovering too late that they were misled, dismissed, or outright harmed. These aren't isolated incidents, they're symptoms of a broken system. Again, like everything is. What's different now is that patients are finally speaking out. They're turning to TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. This is what we're doing right now. And Reddit because regulators aren't protecting them. Social media has become the only place where people feel heard, believed, and validated. And the stories being shared are exposing a truth that the dental industry has avoided for decades. Without real oversight, dentistry becomes a breeding ground for overtreatment, fraud, and preventable harm. That's why I'm speaking out. Because silence protects unethical practices. Because shame protects scammers. Because sunlight protects patients. I'm sharing my story so others can recognize the red flags I didn't know to look for. Also, I want to kind of sound the alarm that maybe we need to stop trusting in our professionals so blindly as well. I feel like I somehow blindly trusted the dentist, although I did give pushback. I was still kind of like, well, I mean, I'm not the dentist, they are, and being on the Canadian Dental Care Plan, I was put in a bad situation. Like, I fear that if I hadn't have gone into the other dentist that actually fixed my tooth, even come Christmas Eve day, when I went into my appointment, that dentist would still possibly not be willing to admit that that tooth needed a root canal that she had put layers and layers of filling on and sealed well, as she had said. I might have still been left with that tooth. You know what I mean? Like, I there was no guarantee that even if I showed up to that appointment that the tooth was going to get fixed at the point that I went walking up and down the road trying to find a dentist. I was kind of like, I am fucked unless I find a dentist right now. Probably not this one, because I don't even have a guarantee that she'll listen to me and actually take this tooth out of my mouth. Because she didn't want to the last time. So what, We saw that in the lab, clinical microbiology, oral bacteria in the bloodstream. That's right, very dangerous. My mom got a valve replacement this past summer, so she'll have to take antibiotics before any dental work of any kind. I already have to do that. So yeah, it sucks, but it's good to do it. So I'm sharing my story so others can recognize the red flags I didn't know to look for. Me, the scam catcher. I didn't know to look for them. I'm sharing it because people deserve transparency, honesty, and ethical care. I'm sharing it because the rise of dental scams and patient-led exposés shows that we are at a turning point, and we cannot afford to look away. Not in this economy. If we want change, we have to demand it. We need national oversight, real-time auditing, transparent disciplinary records, protections against overtreatment, and laws that prevent unlicensed individuals from performing dental procedures. We need systems that protect patients, not providers. Because the fraud that they'll get charged with, there's medical fraud, but that doesn't really count for dental fraud as much. If you pretend to be a doctor, you get arrested and go to jail. But these people that are pretending to be dentists, like I said, they're only kind of getting arrested and going to jail if they're getting charged with assault. It's very different. Kind of sucks, Kind of sucks in that way. But we do need systems that protect the patients instead of the providers. It should be very much a patient-based. And I don't know if dentistry is. They claim that the medical field, doctors are, but I don't know if dentistry is. I'm speaking out because no one should have to go through what I went through. Because the only way to fix a broken system is to name the harm, expose the patterns, and refuse to stay silent. This is our moment, and I refuse to waste it. I'm writing this article because when I went to my first dental appointment, she asked me what I do for work. And I said, I expose scams. I am a consumer protection advocate, which is hilarious because if you're going to run a dental scam, maybe don't pick the woman who studies fraud the way other people watch Netflix. So here I am. Here I am finally speaking out after I've spoken out on deheck.com. Now I'm speaking out on my YouTube channel to tell my story for those reasons. Because that is what I went through. And again, we're seeing a huge rise in these dental scams, all kinds. The overtreatment, fake techs. It's actually getting ridiculous and crazy. But since this is happening, I do think that now would be the time to say, all right, we need better regulation. We need better reporting, and we got to start advocating for that. So I'll be doing that in the future. I'll let you guys know how that goes. And I'll share anything that I can with all of you. But that's what I went through. The tooth got out on the 21st. I got it finally taken out of my mouth. And for 3 days afterwards, for 3 days afterwards, I was puking my guts out. I was like vibrating. It felt like my whole body was vibrating. I was like exhausted. Like I could barely keep my eyes open because I was getting like headaches and stuff from like all the nerve pain in my face. And like it was awful. I must have had so much adrenaline because at that point I was just living off of shock and adrenaline, and it took me about 3 days to calm down. Like even on Christmas Eve, I literally still was not 100% because I hadn't eaten this whole time either. And the way that it affected my body made it so that when I started eating again, after I got the tooth out and like 24 hours or so later, after, the swelling finally went down and whatnot, I was like, my stomach was so teeny tiny. I was like, I can't even eat right now. I was like trying to eat. I'm getting sick. I was like, I can't keep any food down and I'm about to cook a whole turkey dinner. I better be able to eat it. I'll be pissed. So I spent like most of Christmas Eve, like when I wasn't hanging out with my family, just nursing myself back to health, really. And the good news is Christmas morning, I wasn't puking anymore. And then we were able to have quite a normal Christmas. And since Christmas, I have felt a lot better. But yeah, I feel like I still wasn't myself until, I don't know, 5-6 days ago, really. It was a very, very strange experience. I don't wish that on anyone. I've never had my body go into full shock like that before. And I thought I'd have, but apparently not, because that was awful. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And I have fibro, so I know nerve pain. I also want to put that out there. Like, I know nerve pain, and I can deal with nerve pain, and I've been dealing with teeth pain. So, like, if I am walking around with an ice pack, showing up at your dental office, like practically in tears, telling you that I'm like really fucked up, I'm really fucked up. Like, I'm not an over exaggerator. I'm the opposite. I'm that person that's like got a broken arm, and I'm like, no, I'll be fine. We'll just keep going. So that was very frustrating for me. And the ER was like, well, we're not a dentist, so we can't do anything unless you see your dentist. And I'm like trying to explain to them, okay, yes, I understand. I'm dehydrated to fuck. I haven't eaten, haven't drank hardly anything. I'm sipping water here and there, but like that hurt me, right? My nerve was exposed. So even water was hurting me. Like everything hurt me. I didn't want to put anything in my mouth. And I'm like, my body is in shock. I need to like get out of shock. That's what I'm here for. I understand you can't extract my tooth and that you've given me antibiotics and that I have painkillers. What I need from you is for you to like do something to help me not be in shock anymore. I can't deal with both these things at the same time. It's making it so that I can't even exist. So that's what was frustrating to me. It was like, why can't they do more to help with that? You know what I mean? The third visit, though, to the hospital, they had finally said, oh, well, we can give you a cortisol shot in the nerve. And that might numb it for the night for you, or at least several hours, so that you can get some rest. And that's probably how I got the strength to be able to then the next morning go walking up and down the road trying to get into a dentist. Otherwise, I don't even know if I would have been able to be honest with you. Because I was going, I can't go through this for a whole other night again. This is literally unbearable. Unbearable. So if you ever go through anything like that, tell them to do that for you. Tell them that they can give you a shot in the nerve in your mouth, that they can do that. And that should help take away the pain, at least for a little while, so that you can at least get some rest, so that you can experience more pain once that wears off, you know? Which is something that just, I feel like when I was going through, that's just what my husband experiences with his back, I guess. You know? So, I'll let you guys know if anything comes of this, you know, if I have reported it to the appropriate places. And the other dentist that I went to saw said that she would be reporting because she had never seen someone put so many layers of filling on a nerve before, and that it was crazy. When they brought up the x-rays, because that was the other thing, they didn't want to send over the x-rays. They were being assholes. They sent over my last x-ray. When they brought them up, they were like, oh my God, this is a very, very deep cavity. How did we even fill this with a filling? Like, what? And then the dentist, that was actually the assistant that said that. And then the dentist goes, oh, she must have just layered it on here, like just layer after layer. And then the assistant's like, what? And I was like, yeah, no, that's what I'm going through right now. They're like, yeah, we got to get this out of your head right now. Let's go. So that was the best thing I had heard in over a week. The whole thing lasted about 6 days, and it was hell. But I am glad to be through it. And hey, maybe it was also that we could start regulating for the dentist industry to be better regulated. Start advocating for it to be better regulated. That's what I meant to say. Things happen for a reason. But thank you for coming and listening to this story and hearing the stories of the fake veneer techs. You know, do research. Research all of the professionals, just like, you know, if you are going to get into a business opportunity and I tell you to do research, you're going to go see a dentist, do research. If you're at the ER and the doctor comes out to see you, at this point, look him up too. Make sure he has good reviews. You know, check on everyone. And I guess keep on advocating for yourself to be safe and protect yourself from harm. I will see you guys all tomorrow. We're going to be going through some Hare Krishna stories. So that should be an interesting time. I hope that all of you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And there should be a Friday this week as well. Because I know that you guys were wondering about that. You were like, what? Will there be one? There will be one this Friday, don't worry. So, tomorrow, Hare Krishna stream, and then Friday. Have a fabulous night. I love all your faces. Give it a like. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you soon. Bye. I give you 5 memberships at the start of this stream, so enjoy. There will be a link for the Discord put up by the end of the evening for the members. See you there.